Facebook has been declared an extremist organization, or at least it has in the Russian Federation. And I thought we'd go through this because I find it funny. And quite frankly, even though illegal invasion bad, I end up kind of agreeing with the Russians on this one, at least their reasoning.
Are we allowed to do that?
We'll read the specific claims, and we'll agree with the specific claims that the Federation made in this one.
Okay.
So, as you can see, or at least I will, I'll try and argue it with you. So, Ukrainian war, Russia labels Facebook and Instagram extremist platforms, but spares WhatsApp from the ban.
Hang on a second. No, I agree that Facebook is an extremist platform, but I doubt for the same reasons that Russia does.
According to Facebook's own standards,
Yeah.
it makes themselves an extremist platform. That's what I'm going to argue.
Well, I was going to argue that if their standards were what made it an extremist platform.
Yeah, so Facebook
Right, okay.
has a set of standards in which they prohibit activities, and if you engage in those activities, you are an extremist and are banned from Facebook. We know many a person who is completely unpersoned. I mean, Lord Voldemort, Roblin Tomlinson, for example, he is banned for hate speech officially. So if Facebook were to encourage or allow said hate speech, what would that make them?
What, like with the Azov Battalion?
Yes. So, a Moscow court...
They're not allowed to use Facebook, but you can praise them on Facebook.
It's like, well, Facebook, you've just broken your own standards. You're now extremists themselves.
Yeah.
And that is what the Russians have argued. A Moscow court exempted WhatsApp from the ban, however, saying it didn't have the same power to disseminate information to the public as its sister companies, which are all owned by Meta, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think it's just because WhatsApp is used more by Russian oligarchs, and therefore...
I'd say that doesn't make any sense at all, but
No.
Instagram escaped the ban as well, did you say?
No, they did get banned.
Oh, they did get banned, right.
Instagram was shut down for allowing users to post messages calling for violence against Russian troops in Ukraine.
Right.
And Facebook was banned following the invasion because they immediately banned Russia Today and Sputnik from their platforms. So the Russians at the time just went, right, Facebook, you're banned for banning us. And then Instagram allowed hate speech against Russians. They were like, well, you're banned too. And then this has all gone to court. So Moscow's Tvergovsky District Court upheld the decision, enshrining the bans in law as it labeled the companies extremist organizations in the process. State prosecutors said that Meta, quote, deliberately allowed hate speech against Russians, which created an alternative reality in which many pro-Russian positions were suppressed and hatred was incited.
I mean, that's not wrong. I've seen a lot of hate speech against Russians on social media.
I mean, that's the point. I mean, that's the funny thing, because if Facebook has these rules, and we know people, and there are many others, who are on their, what do they call it, the extremist figure list or some nonsense like that.
Oh, this was a few years ago where a bunch of feminists were whining that Facebook prevented them from saying kill all men.
Yes, I remember that.
And now we've got to the point where Facebook's like, yeah, but you can say kill all Russians.
Only in Ukraine, though. That is
if you're in Ukraine. And John makes a good point there. WhatsApp doesn't have a public facing this. I assume this is why it's exempted. It's just a private groups, isn't it, rather than public statements.
Let's be frank. I don't think the Russian legal system really cares. It's not to do with the realities.
I'm not saying it is, but that is a fair point.
Yeah. So there's the argument, which is according to Facebook's own laws, yes, they are in breach of them and therefore extremists. And the Russian court were like, we'll copy and paste that, and therefore banned.
But they're not wrong. You know, they're literally. You can praise the Azov Battalion. You can kill. Cheer for the death of Russians. So, okay, that does sound a bit bad, Facebook. And I'm not in favor of Putin or Russia or the invasion either, but...
And that's the funny thing, because Facebook said up until this situation, all of that was hate speech. Yeah. All of that was incitement to violence. And now, because...
Facebook's like, but you can do it.
Only if you live in ex-Soviet countries.
Oh, sure, great. Hate speech is allowed, in certain circumstances.
Russia's state press agency said that Meta's lawyer had argued that the company was not an extremist organization. Good try. And opposed hatred against Russians.
See, I would have respected them if they'd come down and be like, damn right we are. Slava Ukraini or whatever it is.
Slava Ukraina. But no, I love that they tried to claim that they opposed hatred against Russians, even though the court was obviously able to just pull up the law changes.
I mean, they literally are in favor of it.
You literally legalized it in ex-Soviet countries. So, yeah, that's a silly argument. So they lost. Not that they were going to win anyway.
Sure, it's a Russian court. Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram began blocking Russia Today and Sputnik for users in the UK following a request by the British government earlier this month. It followed a letter by Culture Secretary Nadine Dorris urging Meta, TikTok and Twitter to restrict access to the Russian state-owned organizations, which she accused of spreading damaging propaganda in Britain, of course. But there's the funny thing, because all of the claims by the Russian government that are actually verifiably true, which is that, well... You did allow hate speech against Russians, according to yourselves. So if you can load this up, as you can see here, Facebook and Instagram to temporarily allow calls for violence against Russians.
I mean, that's just not on. Like, just random, and this has had effects. Like, there's an Irish guy who rammed the Russian consulate in Ireland or something.
There have been some of that. I mean, we'll try and give the devil his due. So Facebook said that their specifics for why hate speech was now allowed was because it was only allowed in ex-Soviet sphere nations, so Czechoslovakia, Poland, Ukraine, whatnot. Russia itself, which was funny. So you have Russians calling for the death of all Russians. But it was only also for Russians in Ukraine you could call for the deaths of. But there's a large minority of
Russians
Russian
in
Ukrainians.
Ukraine.
Not Russians from the Federation, but Russian Ukrainians. So you are calling for the deaths of a minority ethnic group, and that's allowed because...
And they have been persecuted by the Ukrainian government before the invasion.
Before the war, this is what the whole dispute is about as well.
They've been shelling Donbass and Donetsk. Sort of.
Yeah, but before that, you have the language dispute. Before we even get into the concept.
But the Ukrainian government has been attacking these things. It's like, I'm not,
Yes.
So good on either side, in my opinion. But
before the war, this debate. But anyway, it's the point of, well, okay, hate speech is allowed only when we say it is, and when it presumably agrees with American foreign policy seems to be the standard. In which case, I don't know. I mean, next time we attack a Middle Eastern nation, I assume Facebook will just allow us all to call for the deaths of whichever Haji we're killing this time. Is that going to be how it's going to work?
I can only imagine.
I presume so. Although, no, it'll only ever apply to other people, won't it? You could also call for the death of Putin, of course, but I don't know why that's banned elsewhere, but whatever. So if we go to the next one, we can see the verifiable truth in that, which is, as well, Facebook and Instagram to block Russia Today and Sputnik in the UK following government request.
Yep, the Zauer Iron Curtain. Literal
government request. If we go to the next link, we can see the tweet itself in which they got the letter from Nadine Dorris just saying, yeah, delete them. Like, just don't allow them to be on your platforms. Why? Because the government said so.
They accuse them of spreading misinformation, right?
Yes.
So what do we have an example of that?
They would say general support of the Russian Federation and the war.
How is that misinformation? That's partisanship.
Yes.
It's not misinformation. Misinformation is a verifiably untrue claim. Let's see it.
But even if we could, let's say, because I imagine there are from Russia Today, which you could say,
probably.
This is completely wrong, or that is completely wrong. The AK-47 is the best weapon ever. No. You can say these things.
Depends on your standards, I'd say, wouldn't it?
But then we could obviously just point to the scandals within the BBC. I mean, like, the most funny one has to be when the BBC tried to run a story on Primark saying that they ran slave labour sweatshops. You'd expect it to be true. So you think the BBC would go and get footage of it. And instead, they just faked the footage and then just moved on. It was just like, no. And Primark made them apologise for it.
Good. They should have sued.
I was like, well, there you are. I mean, just verifiably false things.
So can the Conservatives ban the BBC in Britain as well?
For disinformation. Quote.
That would improve the country.
Quote from Nadine. I want to urge you to do everything you can to apply the approach you are taking across the EU to block both RT and Sputnik's online output. Again, just the government just comes down and says ban it.
I can't stand it.
Okay.
I never watch RT. I never read Sputnik.
But also only for the Russians, not for Qatar-funded media, such as Al Jazeera or AJ+. Consistent, always. If you go to the next one, we could see Nadine celebrating all this as well, because that's her position on all this. I thank Meta in responding to my call to remove Russia Today and Sputnik. So, yeah, and then they got banned in Russia.
Look at that social media traction that she gets.
Yeah,
76
incredible.
likes.
Yes. If we go to the next one, we can also see that she used Ofcom to ban them from all the airwaves, so not just online. And if you wanted to listen on TV, no. On the radio, no. That's gone.
I just hate the fact that we're just openly censoring now.
Why are we censoring ourselves?
Yeah.
Because that's the funny thing here. Like, you made this point before, but if we're in a liberal democracy, we're able to listen to all forms of propaganda and then come to the truth. That's how this is meant to work. Whereas in a dictatorship or in an authoritarian system, you only get one line of propaganda. That's the problem.
Yep.
It's not that there's propaganda, it's that you don't have a plurality of propaganda to listen to. If we go to the next one, we can also see the fact that she then organized with the French. So the French satellite, which broadcast Russia Today, was turned off. So literally no way of listening to it as well. Yeah. And if we go to the next one, we can see the fact that we just look at Facebook again, back to the fact that they're an extremist organization. Yeah. So this is political donations in 2016 by all the major tech companies. Yeah.
I mean, it does say something, doesn't it?
I mean, as partisan as RT, if nothing else, because you could see that, I mean, Facebook, 2.3 million to Dems, 160K to Republicans. That's in 2016.
I'm genuinely amazed that Amazon managed to cheapskate their way out of this.
Yeah.
Amazon only 1.2 million in donations.
If we go to 20...
If I were the Dems, I'd be like, hang on a second, come on.
You guys get more money than all of these people.
Yeah, you earn more money than God, okay? So come here. Like 1.2 million, Google gave us 6.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
Yeah, but that was in 2016. If we go to 2020, we can see I've only got Facebook's figures here again. But it's just ridiculous. Like, it's not even, we lobby politicians because we want to win whoever gets in power.
No, we lobby Democrats.
We lobby Democrats, only Democrats. That's it. That's all we care for. And this is after the Summer of Love, after the engaging of terrorism by all of the Democrats' foot soldiers and BLM.
Where you're allowed to praise them burning down the cities.
Mm-hmm. And Facebook made sure you could praise that as well.
But you can't praise Carl Rittenhouse for defending himself from the people burning down the cities.
No, you can't. This is why. Because they're just unbelievably partisan.
Yes.
Like, unbelievably.
But Russia Today, that's a partisan outlet for Russia. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It is.
Funded by the government, by definition. That's what it's going to be. Everyone
You're
knows that as
funding
well.
the government.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Totally different.
But there's also the funny aspect in all this that, of course, Facebook also allows the propaganda or partisanship that we have on our side, even though it's banned in other cases. And the most specific one would be the one not from a partisan organization, but instead the state. Because the TikTokers, again, you remember this hoe?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the lady who tried to claim that everything that was going wrong in America was Putin's fault.
To be fair, Callum, I don't think we should impeach her moral character when it comes to, whether she's promiscuous or not. We should just call her a government-sponsored liar, because she is.
Well, that's why I'm calling her a hoe. I mean,
yeah, but that's got a specific sexual connotation. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I've used people who've used this before for people who work for the Chinese Communist Party. Like, people who go and sign up for the Chinese Communist Party and will make YouTube videos saying that the Chinese Communist Party did nothing wrong. They routinely get called prostitutes for the state.
Okay.
And I think that is fine in this case as well.
So a political hoe, then?
Yeah, so political prostitutes. And we shall see this, because she wasn't paid, she says, but she did engage...
She did it for free.
She did it for free.
I lie on behalf of the Biden administration for free. Yeah, why not?
Seems like a bad deal, love.
I mean,
Just saying.
I mean, I don't believe her, but carry on.
So if we go to the next one, which is her response to the backlash in which people called her out, is to claim it's misogyny. She was a victim of misogyny. I claimed everything was Putin's fault, and people said no.
It's 2022. Women don't even fucking exist. Like, go on, define woman, and then maybe I'll agree it's misogynistic. Shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up. No, come on.
I thought you'd enjoy this stooge. So, quote,
misogyny. This is in 2014, love.
Misogyny is very much alive and well in the media, she said.
Good.
She claimed reporters harped on her despite the fact that she was not the only young woman deployed in the White House's plan. Deployed.
Well, deployed. I mean, just wait till you see misogyny in women's sports.
But also, that doesn't make any sense, lady. Like, you're claiming we're picking on you because you're a woman, right? Or at least the media was. Because we actually picked on the men and the women when we did the segment.
Oh, yeah, just all of them. You're all political hoes.
But okay, but the complaint is that, I'm one of the several young women and they've all picked on me. It's like, well, yeah, then it's not misogyny, is it? Because otherwise we'd be picking on all the women because we hate all the women. No, the pick on you was because you made the dumbest video.
And you were the best looking, frankly.
Maybe. I didn't see all the other women, but...
They were subpar.
Okay. But there was also just the fact that you tried to claim that everything in America that's going wrong is because of Vladimir Putin.
But look at this.
Not the guys
She's
who run it.
18 years old.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What is the White House doing here? This isn't her fault.
Like, why wouldn't you have some skepticism about your own position in the world, right? It's like
She's 18.
Yeah, but that's the point, right? If I was 18 and the government comes to me and go, Carl, we need you to record a video putting out the message that the government has, I'd be like, me? Are you me? Are you want 18-year-old me to do it?
Yes, we want you to say how we should follow Lei Fang's good example. Sing the song.
Exactly. I would be mildly skeptical of that at the very least. I mean, come on, that you're not. You're like, yeah, well, you just hate women. Yeah, but like, it's also weird. The government's grooming you. Isn't that weird? I think that's weird.
It is totally weird. Quote, isn't it interesting that out of all 30 creators, I'm the only one being body shamed and discredited for being a young woman? No one's body... What the hell are you talking about? The body's
look,
fine.
The discrediting is your youth, not your womanhood, okay?
No, it is your naivety.
Yeah, it's ageism, not misogyny.
It's your dumbness, and you're being a political hoe.
And you're being totally gullible to think they're telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these people are professional liars.
She's also being discredited for being a young woman interested in politics on social media.
Yes.
I'm just interested in politics. That's going to be her defense throughout all of this. I'm just interested in politics, bro.
I agree.
It's like...
Young women interested in politics. Just
No, but
discredit on social media.
You know how you get interested in politics, and what did you do? When you
I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd watch some stuff, maybe some
Yeah,
videos,
you'd read some
YouTube,
books.
read a book.
Yeah.
No, you didn't go and be a political prostitute for number 10 Downing Street.
I don't think they. I think they would have been like, look, that would discredit us, which is literally what the Biden administration should be thinking with her.
That's
Like,
what they should have done. Yeah.
The fact they're using an 18-year-old girl on TikTok discredits them.
Yeah. They can't convince people with their words. They have to. Well,
Rational argument. No, we'll have lying children on the internet.
quote, in the last couple of days, I've gotten thousands of grown men and women shaming me for my body. I don't know why.
Oh, now that grown men and women, right? Okay.
Shaming me for my education. They're probably right on that one. Shaming me for wanting to be interested in politics. Again, no one's believing that you're just interested in politics. And shaming my parents for how they raised me. Considering you turned out to be a literal government schmuck, yes, your parents should have raised you better.
For the worst government in living memory in America.
If we go to the next one, she, I don't know if the link is working, but she decided to make a TikTok responding to all this. And I cut it down for the sake of time, but let's give it a listen in which she tries to say that I'm just learning about politics, bro. Let's play.
A video I put out earlier this week has inspired a lot of conversation and bashing in the media. I've been in and contacted by a lot of major news sources, and I've realized a few things. Misogyny is very much alive and well in the media. Out of all 30 creators, I'm the only one being body shamed and discredited for being a young woman interested in politics on social media. One reporter even asked me, why do you think that you're allowed to talk about politics when you post makeup and dance videos? Does that make me not allowed to be interested in politics and what's happening in the world? Why can't I be interested in fashion and care about politics? Grown men have posted pictures of me saying I must have done unspeakable things to get the opportunity to learn. With comments that I've been reading every day, such as, what do they call women who do anything for money? Yeah, you know.
But also, men have been doing this. Did you see the name there?
No,
Bev Sue.
Bev Sue.
Bev Sue. Miss Bev.
Oh, right.
Was the one actually, it wasn't a man. It was a woman just being like, you know what they call a woman who will do anything for money. Again, just women on women violence. Just never ends.
Which, yes. But I love I'm interested in politics, so I'm just going to rote repeat the government's message.
Yeah.
For free.
That's not an interest in politics.
No, that's being a propagandist. And again, I don't think it was free. I think he just took money.
Well, she claims it was an unpaid Zoom call. I don't know if she got paid for the video itself.
Right.
Because people online, at least propagandists, are slippery snakes.
Again,
so it's hard to believe.
At no point do you think, why is the government coming to beauty makeup bloggers and saying, can you say this one message for us, please? Just no skepticism at all. Total blind faith in the authorities. Mad. Absolutely mad.
But also just like, I can't read a book. Can't do that, presumably. Because otherwise, why didn't you?
Well, hang on. No. I didn't realize she was a beauty blogger. I mean, I should have guessed. But like, I assumed she was a political TikToker.
Yeah.
And she talked about communism all day because she's an 18-year-old woman, right? Why would she be like, yeah, I just interested.
She's interested in politics.
Yeah.
She's interested in politics.
Like, why would you not think, Christ, that is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it obviously it is weirder that she is a beauty vlogger that the White House went to.
Yeah.
I don't know, presumably they're going to BMX TikTokers as well. They're just assuming they're all interested in politics as well. But then her weird defense, I just can't get over. She's just like, I'm just interested in politics, bro. A girl interested in politics? Why can't I be interested in politics? It's like, again, read a book. Watch a
that
YouTube
will
video.
explain to you why girls can't be interested in politics.
No, but read a book. Like, watch some political YouTube. I don't know, go on a march and say free the nipple or something. Don't become a propaganda mouthpiece for the White House. That's not what the rest of us do. Like, the rest of us are like, I'm concerned about the way things are going. I better go work for the central government as a propagandist.
And you know what? If you are going to do that, at least get paid.
It's
like
bad
they've got
business.
Like they've literally got all the money in the world.
Look,
know,
you're harming the wage gap. Step your game up. But then we also go to the next one because our own propaganda, of course, extends far beyond TikTokers. At least that's the Americans. That's what they're doing. In Britain, we still have ministers who are propagandists instead of hiring TikTokers. Don't know how long that's going to last. So this is the business secretary who decided to give a statement in which he said that the British people will have to suffer hardships in the months ahead.
No. British people willing to suffer hardship. Not that they have to. We know we're going to have to.
Yeah.
But willing. When were we consulted on this?
There was no vote on it, but okay. In the months ahead, as the economy takes a hit from the Ukrainian crisis.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure so much of our economy was just so deeply tied to Ukraine.
Everything. The value of the pound, the number of pounds in circulation.
I mean, the fact that this was happening before the Ukraine crisis, as the money supermarket guy or whatever was
Exactly,
out.
that's my next link.
Oh,
Which is,
right, okay, yeah.
you may like believe this literal government propagandist because he's a government minister, but instead, let's go to a consumer advocate such as Martin Lewis, who just points out that's bollocks. It's
Yeah.
just in much politer terms. He says, what has happened in Ukraine has exacerbated the situation, but the rises in energy, heating oil, water, council tax, broadband, mobiles, food, and national insurance were all taking place before Ukraine. I love the idea you're going to blame council tax on Putin. Putin has raised your council tax, folks. It's like, no, he hasn't.
He's raised my water costs. Well, we were importing water from Russia, were we?
En masse.
Yeah.
It's very cheap to buy water from Russia, put it on a plane and fly over, rather than just ding it up from the ground.
I mean, it falls from the sky all day, every day here. Why would we need that? You know?
No, we have to set up a water pipeline through the sea.
We import broadband from Russia, you see.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
if we don't get access to Russian broadband, no one gets on the internet.
again obvious propaganda from the
Honestly.
government, but at least we get it from ministers. At least we don't get it from 18-year-old beauty vloggers like Americans do.
Better.
But also going forward, I mean, meanwhile, all this is taking place. I want to remind people that if we just go to the next one, you can see a graph. I don't know if you can scroll down to get the graph, John. It's just GDP per capita for the UK. It's just, Britons are still poorer than their compatriots in 2007. Just
Oh, yeah.
ever since. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the government has failed completely to actually create any growth. This isn't true for the Americans. They've gotten richer since the financial crisis.
Oh, good for them.
Because they've been allowed to. Like, the government stepped back, at least enough for them to grow. Whereas in the UK, no.
Well, our bills are going up, Callum. I mean,
Yeah, but also just for over a decade now. Like,
No, I know,
just Nothing's
I
been better
I
than
know.
2007.
and our bills are going up.
The height of British civilization, 2007.
Well, I mean, that's giving Tony Blair way too much credit, isn't it?
Well, then he led to the crash, of course. But if you go to the next one, we can also see the idea that national insurance is Putin's fault. Again, your taxes.
How could it be?
How can
it
Putin
be?
keep taxing us, Carl? Putin keeps putting these taxes on you and me.
I'm finally coming around to the taxation is theft argument.
Yeah,
The money has to go to Putin.
the national insurance rise, if you may remember, was to clear the NHS backlog
Yeah.
from the two people who run the country, not Putin here.
Also, who pledged in their manifesto that they wouldn't raise taxes.
Of course. So immediately the NHS started hiring diversity hires. And we mocked this on the podcast because it was ridiculous. They're still doing it. This is from a couple of days ago.
Oh, God.
Hiring even more. I mean, if you scroll down, John, there's 3 more jobs have gone up.
Honestly,
for
I feel
heads
like-
of diversity and inclusion.
I would rather if just the government would come around and right, okay, we need your NHS money. I'd be like, here you go. And I'll just burn it in front of them.
Honestly,
Or
it
them
would do
burning
more
in
good.
front of me.
At least it would warm me.
Yeah. At least they wouldn't be promoting communist propaganda.
It would ever so slightly heat my house, which would be better than communist propaganda.
Let's scroll down a little bit, see how much the head of equality diversity getting. Oh, up to 60 grand a year.
63 grand, 56
And the
grand,
lead-
60 grand. That's 3 more.
Yep.
Just more money down the drain. I love the little line they have there as well.
Job type permanent. Oh my God.
An extra £117,000 to the NHS annual budget, well spent. For some reason, these heroes didn't get a mention in Savage Java's radical NHS reform speech earlier this week.
Why are the Conservatives doing this, though? It'd be such an easy win. Say, well, look, we've got all of these diversity hires, and
We're just
it's
gonna abolish
costing
it.
you literally hundreds of millions of pounds a year, probably a day, but millions of pounds a day, hundreds of millions a year. We're going to abolish it and then reduce the amount you have to pay for the NHS. Aren't you happy with that?
Yeah. We'll move on from this.
Such an
because
easy win.
There's another point I saw on Guido, which is the government's hiring a new nuclear threat reduction manager for the obvious reason. And that person's getting paid 40 grand, whereas the guy in charge of diversity and inclusion is getting paid 108 grand. I mean, just look at our priorities. I love the image. It's just the guy sweating as he deals with what if people
Yeah.
get nuked. And then there's the guy checking out your genitals and your skin tone.
I just don't understand why the Conservatives are doing this.
Yeah.
Like, if we were living under a Labour government, I'd be like, well, yeah, that's what they do. But
But instead, we have this from the quote-unquote right-wing party. If we go to the last one here, I'll end this off with this one, which is just I wanted to check out the Russian response to the extremist stuff as well. So just the last one, please, John, which is the Russian one. So as you can see, this is Pravda again, which I've used because it's the main outlet in Russia. And I just found this funny. So as you can see, they labeled them extremists. And then they have some bullet points about what you should do. So number 3, what happens if I post on Facebook or Instagram? If these are cats or any other entities that do not popularize extremist or fake information, this will not be regarded as a violation. So Russians can still use them as long as they post cat videos. So there's that. So number 4, is it possible to do business on these social networks? It is strictly forbidden to make payments on social networks. Even a ruble to their account will be regarded as financing of terrorism. Sorry, extremism. Criminal liability will be 100%. Again, I just find funny. That's the life of a Russian here now, which is if you ever do Facebook Marketplace, you're funding terrorism or extremists. That's the law as it is in the Federation. There's also some advice, which is to untag yourself completely, because then you can't be accused of being involved in provocation. And yeah, that's it. That's Facebook being labeled extremists. And well, all the arguments in court were actually factually true, which is the
one thing I hate about this is that we've adopted the Russian position on censorship as our own. I can't stand it.
I don't know why. Instead, we should have the Western values one.
Yeah.
You know, the thing we're all fighting for, which is, well, we allow all points of view, no matter how stupid or propagandist, because, well, then we can listen to them all and find the truth. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the book clubs that we do, this one on Rousseau's Discourses on Inequality, the origins of why socialism is absolutely terrible. And if you want to see what else is coming out, you can also follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.